trucking mama, trucking till the break of day. Well, you get up in the morning and you get up late. Down to the corner, try to make yourself a date. And you can't stop doing what you do to me, mama. Just gonna run a little while. Well,
the crisis bus was set up 1st of June through the Non-Medical Use of Drugs Commission. The idea behind it was that a lot of kids, a lot of people are into drug things, and the hospitals aren't adequate. Not enough people know what's happening with drugs. Coupled with the fact that kids trust us. Kids where they can't talk to their parents, where they can't go into a hospital because of the starch whites and the whole institution atmosphere. And they can phone us. We don't have red tape to go through, and we don't have a huge bureaucratic structure that we have to involve ourselves with. We look at a need and we just sort of dig around for the best way to fulfill it. We get a lot of kids that are on booze and acid between about 16 and 18. We had picked up one kid that was freaking on hash once. And then there's 19 to 22 or 23, we get into the hard drugs. Those are kids that OD on speed, who are like hitting up MDA and into schmack and having problems with that. Just an incredible range of people are into it. I talked down an 11-year-old chick once, right up to talking down 50-year-old women. You ever been kicked in the crotch? That's a bummer, man. And it's the same sort of thing. You're getting into that where nothing else exists at all except that kick in the crotch. It's pretty terrifying. Your whole, a kid's whole, or anybody's whole being will be involved with whatever they're freaking on. So all of a sudden, they're tripping along on acid and they get a stomach pain, and they start thinking that they're going to die because of the acid they dropped. This just grows out of proportion because of the kind of perception that they're into anyway. And very soon, they're on a bummer. In the majority of the cases, the kids we pick up, it's not the dope that's doing it to their heads. It's the situations that they're in. It's the people that they're with, and they just can't handle that. And that's basically what we're into. Picking them out of that situation, putting them into something that's a lot more comfortable and a lot less threatening. We're not into having a place where people can come to enjoy an acid trip. We're into the kind of thing where if somebody's freaking, rather than have them hurt themselves, either psychologically or physically, then we can provide an environment that'll bring them down. And the freak out they can think about, because they've gone through their moment of terror, and they'll think about it the next time around.
When I do dope, I usually end up gonna freak. I don't know why. Like the other day, yesterday, I had a really bad trip. Like everything was good. It was one of the best trips I ever had. Like, and then I was walking down the street, and I was with him, and something went wrong. I couldn't even remember my name or anything like that. I had to try really hard to think. It was terrible. Everybody except him, I guess it was because he was my friend, was not real. They were all, they didn't look like human beings. They didn't seem like nothing. He took me to the hospital. When I got to the hospital, I said, "Can I see the doctor?" And then they start asking me all these questions like what religion am I, where I come from, and I tried to tell them that I'm gonna freak. I was really scared, And then they take me in the room, and I go down and I beg for the stuff, and they give it to me. It was really weird. I mean, there's nothing like it. It can't be. Like that's why I dropped today, to see, to try and find out what it was that, Instead of just quitting dope and being scared of it for the rest of my life, I tried to figure out what it was. But the first time I did it, I freaked out. And I wanted to know how come I did. And he didn't, He can do it, right? He has a good time. Well, I'm happy for him, but I just want to do, myself. But I'm gonna do it, I don't care what anybody says. I'm gonna accomplish that, Nobody's gonna stop me.
You see something in me, it's cool. For him, maybe. See something I got and he don't get, But you think you have to do dope for get that. he don't take many dopes before, and I don't tell him stop, tell him it's a shit. He can do something. Well, me, I think for me, if I got it's too late for got a wife and child. Anyway, I can't do a child, and if I got a wife, I want a child too. It's too late for that. It's why I don't want to stop the dope. It's because I think I got just that. I tried. I want to stop dope before for do photography. And they tell me you have to go to school. I say okay. I go in some place for go to school, and they tell me you have to wait. I wait 1 year, and after 1 year they tell me, oh, come and they write me a letter, and they say come and we want to speak with you. And when I go for speak with the people, they say, you think you can do a school with the long hair and the beard, and something like that. Oh, I see, I can cut my hair a little bit, Cut my beard, I don't care my beard. But they say, oh, you come here and you just you don't put the pants, you put the jeans, and old shoes or something like that. I say, I don't get anything. No, that's true. Don't get any. Oh, I can get some, if I steal some. Or bum maybe $30 for a pair of shoes I like, I like better, got no shoes, got the shoes $3 and I don't like. Jail. And never do jail before. And it's not the best place, I think, for the people. At this time you think, it's maybe better that you want clean all your body and your head. You want to stop, but me, I want to stop all though, but I don't want to stop. Not all though, but every though. I just want to keep the grass, and sometimes when I got a chance, I like for take a smack, Every day, seem like if I feel if I want feel stoned, I just want to take a joint, grass.
From the contact I've had with kids who smoke dope, my friends, I wouldn't have the same reasons. I don't need to smoke dope. I don't need to get high to have a good time, because I can get high on my own, when I want to or when I need to.
How often do you have the opportunity to smoke dope?
Anytime I want to. The
really...
opportunity is there. I can get a hold of any stuff anytime.
And do most of your friends use dope?
All of them. Just about all of them. I have, a few close friends that don't.
What do your friends say? What's the reaction when you say no thanks?
Not anymore, I don't think, but it was just till a little while ago. It was the reaction of, well, she's strange, or she's weird. She's afraid, she's straight, she's square. It was all a matter of there's something wrong with me. I'm not one of them. It also got to the point where they sort of felt that I was trying to prove to them that I was something better than they were. They never actually looked at it as maybe she's got something to her. Maybe there's something different in her, which was rather disappointing for me. It sort of makes you look at yourself in a sort of a light where you don't really. You start to tear yourself apart. You sort of feel if you're different, then maybe there's something wrong with you, which is always the case. You're always saying, what's wrong with me, not what's wrong with anybody else. Some of my closer friends who've started on dope now feel that I'm they can't really get high on their own with me anymore. They've started to be dependent on the drug, and it's sort of, in that sense, I've sort of lost contact with some of them. Like with one of my best girlfriends, who was one of the only people that I could really feel that I could get myself up with. And sometimes you need someone. I can do it on my own now. I can always do it on my own, but it's just, she's sort of dependent on dope now. Why not do dope instead of doing it on your own? It's that much easier. It's that much quicker.
Pretty sure it's Nembutal.
Yeah, he
5 of
mentioned
these
Nembutal.
should put him to sleep quite rapidly. He's still awake?
Yeah, he's pretty sleepy.
He's fighting. He's groggy.
Well, keep him awake.
Keep him away.
Sure, don't let him sleep.
Yeah, I told him if
You
he
think,
falls asleep, he goes
you
to the
should be taken
hospital.
to the hospital?
Doesn't want to go to the hospital.
He doesn't want to go.
No. His
How
father's a big
long ago
shot.
did he take these?
15, 20 minutes.
15, 20 minutes.
20 minutes ago.
15.
Was that here?
No, at home. We just went and
Yeah,
picked
he
him up.
called switchboard.
Oh.
Took him 15 minutes before we got him, and that was 10 minutes ago. So it was 25 minutes.
Let's see what he looks like. What were the other tranquilizers you took? You said, was it a red one? Was it a tab or a pill or what? Capsule? Was it like this?
He says he really believed it at the time that he wanted to commit suicide, but he regretted doing it after. And the pills he took tonight it wasn't really an overdose, like he's sitting there fighting it off now. He wanted someone to talk to. He's very alienated and very alone. He can't relate to his father at all. His father's got a lot of money, and his father's on a very, very big power trip, and he only understands money. And the kid is, he's got a little emotion, a little feelings, and he can't get any feedback from his father. You see, he's been seeing a psychiatrist for 4 years, and this is probably his parents put him onto the psychiatrist. And he's got, he's nervous, and he's tense all the time, and he fights a lot, is what he said. He gets into fights with people because he doesn't get along with people very well, or they don't get along with him, he says.
Okay, well, keep yourself awake.
So he finally got a psychiatrist to put him on a prescription for tranquilizers, and he takes 2 or 3 pills a day. No, as a matter of fact, he takes 6 pills a day. He's been taking them for 4 years, since he was 11.
We were all searching for something, or we were searching for something meaningful in our life. And when we look around in the world, there just didn't seem to be any, For a lot of us, it just, once we left university, there didn't seem to be anything to do. Coming out to the country, did partially fill that, because I could relate more to just sort of the country environment. But there was still something really important lacking. Nothing meant anything, really. There was no hope, sort of thing. It was just seemed to be plodding along, and maybe things would get better in the future, but things never really did. I could only stay in the city for maybe 2 or 3 days, and I'd feel like I had to come back to the country, and then when I came out to the country again, there was immediate lifting of the anxiety and the depression, and I felt I was back in familiar ground again, and it was very peaceful out here, I was really lonely out here in the country all winter, I was really lonely, and I was having a heavy time with my friends and with people, just in generally. I guess I was kind of paranoid of them and everything, and didn't trust them at all, just through things that had happened, and I was lying in bed, like I said, after a friend's wedding, and I'd been praying about a couple of weeks before for the Holy Spirit, like for the Comforter, because I was really lonely and I needed somebody to comfort me. And I was lying in bed, and like this just fantastic joy just flooded through me, and I knew that Jesus was really real. Well, I know I stopped doing dope because like once you found what you're looking for, there's no use to look any further, So, like, I had the peace within. I had everything that I always wanted. Like, Jesus gives us the desires of our heart, you know. So, there was no real need to do it anymore because I had that peace, I had the joy. There was no need to go out looking for excitement or fun in life because the Lord supplies it all. Hallelujah. That's really great. I think what the people in the city are seeking is sort of like a peace, you know. When they see all the like traffic and heavy noise and everything's really speeded up and it's kind of like a dog-eat-dog thing. So like the dope is kind of a comfort because it does allow you to relax, you know. But it gets to be kind of a vicious circle after a while that, you know, you just have to keep doing more and more dope and like there isn't really any real peace in it. It's just for a certain time space, you know, while you're smoking it and while you're stoned.
The lows tonight will be around the mid-50s somewhere. Currently in Winnipeg with the winds from the west at 5 at 66 degrees in our city of Winnipeg this morning. With a reminder that CFRW has learned this morning that several persons are ill from strychnine poisoning after taking what they thought was the drug MDA last night. There's somebody in this city who's selling caps and claiming it to be NDA, but it's actually 100% pure strychnine. Now, depending upon the person's physical condition, this dose could be fatal. If in doubt, and if you bought some recently, destroy your stuff or have it analyzed at the free Youth Clinic, which is located at 677 Notre Dame Avenue. The telephone number at the clinic is 786-7411.
Well, we have had it analyzed. We had it well, it's a cap, gelatin cap.
First side effect is dizziness, then you get flushing of the face. Along with that, you'd probably get nausea and vomiting, stomach cramps. Then your face and neck muscles will become stiff. Reflex will be hyperactive. And if it's a large enough dose, this happens after 1 minute. If it's a large enough dose, they die between 10 to 15 minutes after from medullary exhaustion.
Okay, if they haven't. If not, we tell them we've also been in contact with the police because, like, there's all these sick kids. And they don't know where you are yet, but it doesn't have to stay that way. So give us the dope because that's all we're really interested in is making sure that no more people end up in the hospital.
Yeah, if we go in to say exactly what Mike said, and then we leave.
I think we got two choices. Either we take away, like, a whole bunch of dope from there and flush it down the toilet, or we turn them in.
There really was a pickup of MDA by the RCMP. They haven't had it analyzed yet. That's just... yeah, that's hearsay. Bill Rizek says it was picked up as MDA. It's about $50,000 worth. Whoever said that this might be a result of just a bunch of kids that are taking advantage of everybody knowing that the MDA was coming to town. Yeah, I'm not averse to going down and talking. I would be concerned about how closely, you know, Bill said he's going back to the his office. I trust him implicitly.
Will he leave us alone for a little
He'll
while?
leave me alone completely if I'll talk to him in about an hour.
Okay.
Two things. We can talk to the people faster, and we can scare it out of town faster, or we can lay our hands on it and tell them faster. And they'll leave it up to us. They want to cooperate with us.
Ask for anything more than that, let's go.
Well, do you want to go down there?
No, but I'll go.
I don't want to go down there either, but let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
First of all, I only sell incredible drugs. If they're anything less than incredible, I don't want to get involved with them. When I sell LSD, I sell only pure LSD, and I have to know the microgram dosage per tablet or blotter or however it comes. If the people who sell to me aren't that precise, I don't want to do business with them. When I sell, if I sell an ounce of hashish, it weighs 1 ounce. That puts me in a decided minority from most dealers, but I think there has to be a constant somewhere. I think I'm performing a service for people, and I should perform a good service. If I can merely do something that they can do, then I just become another one of Americans' many businessmen. But if I do something better than they can do, for less money than they can do it for, then I become my concept of a service. And that's what I try to do. The illegality of drugs makes a great problem because just by necessity you're working with the underworld, and that includes, as well as unpopular minorities, it includes criminal elements, and you get crooked people who rip you off. The income is the first thing, and if there's some impure LSD which is cheaper than some pure LSD, then they'll buy it and keep the price the same and get their income that way. I don't really think that's especially bad. I can understand the mentality behind it because they're in a socially low position, in a socially competitive situation, so they want to advance. That's understandable.
They gave us a runaround and an up and a down and all kinds of stories. Let Mike tell you.
They had about 5 ounces of it, and that there were 2 shipments of it around, and their stuff they didn't believe had strychnine in it, and they gave us a little bit and said have it analyzed. And what that was saying was that we've got some and we're going to sell it, and you go away so we can hide it. And that's what happened, so we phoned the police.
Of the 4 samples that we took in, all 4 were the same stuff, and all 4 were, again, over 90% strychnine.
I think about the only thing we've got left now is just publicity. Like, let the police handle them and do every kind of publicity we can to get the word out to every kid who might eat it.
Not for me, Mike.
Well, to this point, we know 50 that have been into various hospitals. And that's serious. There's one in intensive care right now, and they're not sure if she's going to make it. She's really in bad shape. We get a phone call from somebody about every 40 minutes asking how's the chick in the hospital. And we say, who is this? And they hang up immediately. So I would imagine he's got something hanging on his head. The chick dies and he's going to pay the price. Somebody sold it to them and they couldn't absorb the loss. Consequently, they figured they could put out as much as they could and get as much money back as they could. The second thing is strychnine is a high. You can get a high off it if you drop it in small amounts. It's like some forms of acid chemically, and it does the same sort of things, except for the body things, and like the chick did a little too much. She did a whole cap. She swallowed it, and she couldn't handle it.
Everybody's into drugs of varying sorts, and the kick is sort of gone already, and I think it's evolving to a point of change, so people are going to start looking for something else. I don't think new drugs are going to do it. Unfortunately, that's with a range of people. There's, so people who've been into dope for 5-6 years are getting into that. There's still the kids that are doing dope getting into it because it's a social thing already, and it's part of growing up and part of developing, that you have to go through the dope stage, and I think that's going to exist for a long time. We see an incredible number of people here, but we see a very small percentage of the people that are in fact bumming out or in fact, having bad things happen to their head because of dope. There's no way of getting statistics. I don't even think I'd like to look at the statistics.
Well, we're going back 3 years to when I was in a very heavy space in my own head. It could be described as manic or schizoid. There's a lot of labels that medical people try to put on it. But it was just a very bad time in my life where there was an awful lot of pressures on me. Sickness in the family, academics were bad, money problems, breaking up with a fiance. And I had been taking drugs for about 4 years before that. And sometimes to the point of being stoned on acid for a month solid. So when this preponderance of happenings all occurred in the summer of '68,
it just proved too much, and I sought an escape in trying to shoot myself. Now, the surprising thing is about for 6 months before that took place, I had stopped using drugs. I'd gone out into the mountains, and I had felt more stoned in the atmosphere of the mountains than I did on any drugs. But for about a year after my spine was severed, it was a very hellish time to readjust to. I would have to say for myself personally that I am glad that I have taken them, even though drugs might have played a certain part in losing the loss of my mobility. Now, that's something that I've come to grips with a couple of years ago, and it no longer sends my head spinning when I think about it. I'm hoping, one way or the other, that it might come full circle and through operations or whatever, get the use of it back. But I'm quite prepared to just continue making the best of what I can of my life, so that for myself, I'm glad that I have used them. I have taken LSD maybe 10 times in the last 2 years, but mostly I use casual soft drugs such as hash or grass, more on a social level than on any penetrating level, because I think the penetrating, you can only go so far. Someone once said that drugs are a door, but not a room. And I was definitely making them my room. Naturally, there's always the color and the sensation, the taste, all the senses being so hyper that you feel as though you've been anesthetized for centuries, and all of a sudden you've woken up to a crystal-like world. But there's always the coming down and the coming back. So really, I think I've had my fill of say, heavy psychedelic experiences, and I'm getting to the point now where I want to be, say, more productive in a day-to-day sense.